cruel rape and murder of 19-year-old Uyinene Mrwetyana has sparked a public outcry, putting the spotlight on gender-based violence in the country. The EFF is taking legal action against the Post Office and Minister of Communications, Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams. It says the Post Office should not have employed the killer who had a previous criminal record.
We have assembled a legal team to take legal action on the Post Office and the Minister of Communication. This is because the safety of those who are serviced by the Post Office is the responsibility of the Post Office and the Minister of Communication. The killer of Nene was employee of Post Office, and it is alleged that he had a criminal record and a history of murder. A responsible government and employer should have known this.
Malema has accused the government of dragging their feet when dealing with gender-based violence and crimes against women and children.
The government is reluctant to deal with the issue of gender-based violence because the government has not introduced radical changes when it comes to dealing with matters of gender-based violence, from reporting to investigation to prosecution and ultimately matters being heard by the judiciary.
Malema also spoke out against the attack on foreign nationals, labeling these actions as barbaric.
If you want the continent to treat you properly, stop what you are doing. Stop it. So we are saying to our fellow African brothers and sisters, it's not all of us. Find it in your good heart, because Africans, you are good people. Find it in your good heart to forgive us. We are sorry. We are ashamed of ourselves, and we sincerely apologize.
Recently, the debate around the death penalty being brought back resurfaced, something the EFF is strongly opposed to. Malema has apologized for the recent attacks on foreign nationals in Gauteng. He further calls on government to introduce stringent measures when dealing with issues of gender-based violence. Natasha Phiri, SABC News, Johannesburg.
And Natasha Phiri joins us now to talk more about this. So, Natasha, let's go back to that issue around femicide and gender-based violence. Specifically, Uyinene Mrwetyana, the EFF saying it's going after the communications minister and the post office. Why those two specifically?
Well, in his words, SABC had said that a responsible government should have known that they actually hired a person who had an alleged, a criminal record before. And of course, this also opens up the debate about the sex offenders register. Of course, the EFF Gauteng chairperson, Mandisa Mashego, actually spoke more, on this and somewhat alluded to the fact that if they had known that this perpetrator had this criminal record, he wouldn't have been hired by the post office or by that ministry specifically. And, somewhat, alluding to the fact that Uyinene could have been alive today.
Mm-hmm. And he also spoke about bail applications and regulations needing to be strengthened. Did he expand on that, what he meant?
Not so much so, but what the EFF is just basically saying is that perpetrators of, sexual violence or gender-based violence shouldn't be granted bail. They also spoke about, perpetrator-focused justice system, saying that there needs to be a radical change within our justice system. It can't be that a victim of sexual, violence or sexual abuse goes to a police station and then undergoes secondary harassment from our law enforcement agencies. So he's calling for a stringent radical change amongst all spheres of, government and our justice system.
I mean, at some point, the Commander-in-Chief of the EFF, Julius Malema, also spoke about the death penalty, that the party doesn't support that. Did he say why? Did he feel that it would not be effective in deterring these crimes?
Well, in cases where a person is wrongfully convicted, he was opposed to that, so to speak, saying that if you per se are convicted for any crime and you actually are innocent and, somebody takes your life away, you can't be brought back, to life. So to speak, in such cases, that's why the EFF was strongly opposed to the death penalty, but of course supporting and saying that, perpetrators of such violences, I beg your pardon, should actually face the full might of the law.
So the EFF has always been vocal about doing away with colonial borders, the party commenting on the recent attacks as we saw there. How did he link that with the issue of jobs, which he lamented the government was not a pro-workers government?
Definitely. Well, he actually had strong words, for the private sector, saying that, South Africans' anger should actually be redirected to white monopoly capital and the private sector, because they are actually at fault for the joblessness in our country. But of course, he also alluded to the fact of, the xenophobic attacks, saying that these are also criminal elements that are actually infiltrating these attacks. He also, commended the likes of Nigerian artists, your Tiwa Savage and your Burna Boy, for actually cancelling their gigs in retaliation of these attacks that we're actually seeing here in the country.
Thank you very much, Natasha. SABC reporter Natasha Phiri. Let's take a